I'm beyond delighted today to be in conversation with some titans of the advertising industry to talk about how they make magic and how that magic that they're making can be harnessed to drive change for good for the planet and for people.
All rise.
I'd like to welcome up on main stage with me, please, Mark Pritchard, Chief Brand Officer at Procter & Gamble, and Keith Cartwright from Cartwright, and Justine Armour, Global Creative Director from Grey. There's an amazing chemistry between these three people. They are like their own little marketing, advertising family in some respects. And so we want to know about that family dynamic. We want to know how this magic gets made. Actually, Mark, maybe we'll kick off with you and you talk a little bit about how important it is to you that you stay at the coalface of the creativity you're working with.
In my view, creativity is not serendipity. It requires insights, precision, focus, trust, courage. And I firmly believe that marketers need to be deeply involved. I mean, I've heard it said before, you know, our clients get the advertising they deserve. And so what, in the case of this, look, this was where things, Keith and I, along with the Saturday Morning Group, worked on the look, and there were deep discussions up front around the racism and prejudice that Black men face every day.
I really enjoyed learning with Mark and Justine how to actually have a conversation that's deeply embedded in my DNA with an entirely different audience, i.e. a white audience. With the look specifically, we had Mark and I and the rest of the Saturday Morning Crew had a lot of conversations about how to cut through. And if you push too far at a certain moment, you lose them completely and it becomes counterproductive. And that goes for anything we do creatively. You always want to find the line where you're grabbing them and you're emotional, but you're not pushing them too far to whereby they don't hear or feel the message because it turns them off.
To illustrate, as we went through the first cut of the look, it hit me in the pit of my stomach. And I looked at it, and we actually even did some testing that you can actually do where people can give their actual brainwave reactions. And we saw this huge dip, particularly among white women, for the very first scene where you see the man and his son walking up, and she rolls the window up. Well, there were a number of cuts where the look was a lot more hateful, and the discussion we had was about, hey, look, I'm afraid if we have that look, that there's going to be too many people that reject it, because most people, when they have a look, think they're being subtle. And this is where conversations with Keith and Damon said, yeah, that's what you think. I said, okay, but that was an important conversation because, well, it gets you out of the mindset of, okay, what do I think I'm doing versus what am I actually doing? And then how do we make sure we don't lose the audience? And that's that was then so we had to tone that one down a little bit, but still make the point.
It was a really provocative conversation to be having, just saying, hey, white people, this is your problem, actually. And I think it almost doesn't feel as provocative to look at it even a few months later, because I think the conversation has like gotten out into culture.
We got Justine and Keith together and we had the conversation and said, okay, this is a tough one. Now, how do we do this? How do we make this clear? There was no delegation to that. It was this senior group who were crafting every single point. And I really believe that that's when you get brilliance. That's when you get genius, is when you come together and you have that synergy that creates magic.